Okay. What is happening, guys? We're back again with another one. Today, I want to talk about career, passion. What's the difference between the two? Working a job, being self-employed. What's the difference between the two, and how everybody is different, and not everybody's gonna do the same thing just because someone says so or whatever, right? Like there's there's a myriad of different types of people in this world, but fundamentally you can kind of boil it down in this country, in this specific area, or in this specific continent, North America, where we live in. There's really two types of people in the working class. Obviously this is very like blanket throwing this out there, but there's the people who work every day, go to a job, and then there's the people who are self-employed. That's how you report your taxes, right, to the government. So there's two specific types of people, right? And within those categories of people, there are myriads of different types of them within those types, right? You have people who like to work, who like to go to work, who like to clock in, clock out, punch out. You have people who don't like to go to work, don't like to clock in, don't like to clock out, don't like to punch out, and would rather be their own boss. And then on the other side, you have people who love running their own businesses, and you have people who hate running their own businesses, right? Today we're going to be talking about all of that, right? And how when you're young and you're growing up and you're coming up and you're inexperienced and you don't really know how to view the world in a lot of different situations, how can you decide what's right for you when you haven't really been guided by anyone? No one's really taught you this. No one's really showed you this. How can you know what's right for you at any given point in time and make the best decision for yourself, right? How can you do that, right? Well, everybody's different. I grew up seeing my parents never work a day in their life. They always owned their own business. They always did their own stuff, right? So it kind of like was imprinted in me, own your own business, do your own stuff, and make your own money your own way, right? I do work a job, right? Why do I work a job? It's primarily because, yes, source of income. But when I was younger, I used to work a lot of jobs and I used to hate them, per se. Whether it was like warehouse, whether it was like customer service, whether it was delivery driving, I used to work at DHL, and I used to be one of the delivery drivers. I used to work at UPS. I used to work at a lot of places, and I hated working at every one of them, but I liked making money, right? It wasn't until I decided that I'm gonna do something that I enjoy doing, that pays me, and that also furthers my career into something that I see myself doing in the future down the road, 5 years, 10 years from now, right? And that's why I chose cooking, right? When I go to work, I punch in, I punch out, whatever. I don't like the idea of necessarily working for someone, but I like the idea of working towards my own future down the line, right? I like the techniques, I like the skills, I like the things that I'm trained and I'm taught, right, at work, because those things I can use outside of work to build my own self, build my own brand, and use it to my own benefit, right? So ever since I decided on this was my career path, this is the way I want to take, I started liking my job more. I started liking what I do more and appreciating what I do more, because the reason why I'm doing it is almost as a means to an end, right? But I like the means to the end, right? I like learning these things, and I like educating myself, and I like getting better, right? Because if you don't test yourself, if you don't try, how can you become better, right? So my current job, where I work, I enjoy working there because I know that it's not the finish line, right? It's just the beginning, right? I look forward to the day where I can leave that place and go work somewhere higher up, and then eventually my whole goal is to keep on working until I've reached some form of pinnacle and I can start doing my own thing, my own self-sustaining business or whatever. Or even if I don't reach whatever pinnacle, I can still convert it to something where I know what I'm doing, right? In the cooking industry, you can do that from the jump. You don't even need to work. But I like finer food. I like nicer things. So I think it's a good idea to procure a certain type of palate and taste and I guess affinity to certain things, right? And some of these things you have to kind of learn in a real restaurant environment, in a real cooking environment. But for you, You know, like there are things maybe you don't even know you like, you know. That's why it's important when you're young and you're with your parents, living with your parents, to try things out, try out new things, discover new things, because you never know what you'll like and what you won't like, you know. It's very important that you don't reach the age of like 25, 26, 27, going to your 30s, and you don't know what you want to do for the next 10 years, right? You want to try something out. You want to sit down and say, hey, this is what I like doing. I get it. It's going to take me some time to really nail it. And it's not going to pay me for a really long time. It's not going to pay out. But I still want to do this, right? That way you're able to, you want to open up that alley for yourself. That way you're able to have a side hustle, right? Something that's not paying you at the moment, but it's going to pay you in the future, right? And then your main job or whatever. Or if you're ballsy like that, you can go straight into like making your side hustle your main job. It all depends on what kind of personality you have, right? Like I said at the beginning of the video, there's people who work a 9 to 5 job, enjoy working there, like punching in, like punching out. There's people who don't, and there's people on the side, on the business side, on the self-employed side of things, who like their self-employed business and don't like their self-employed business. You got to figure out from early on what side you're on, and you got to either realize if you're on the wrong side, how to shift to the right side, or if you're on the right side, how to stay there, how to dig in, and how to grow, right? That's something you got to figure out early on. That way you can either plan an exit strategy or plan, like plan a way to extend or expand or whatever, right? But it's really important for, like a lot of you guys growing up and coming of age or already of age to realize that this is the way that you have to look at things, because the future is not guaranteed, right? The only thing that's guaranteed is what you do today, and what you do today impacts your future self, right? You really have to look at your life. You really have to look at your future self as a real person that really exists and that is really there tomorrow, right? Unless you don't see yourself waking up tomorrow, right? When you start looking at that, you start respecting that person, then you respect the decisions it forces you to make proper decisions today so that you can put yourself in a better situation tomorrow, right? And that brings and gives you yourself a lot of self-respect for yourself and for your abilities and for the things that you are passionate about and the things that you enjoy, right? So what I want you guys to do is figure out what you enjoy doing, what you think is profitable, and what you would see yourself doing in the future that, you don't hate it. You just have to not hate it, and you just have to get some form of joy from doing it or doing some part of it, something specific, But once you find that joy, once you find something that you enjoy doing and you don't hate it, you don't feel like, oh, I'm gonna fucking off myself or whatever, right? Focus on that thing and keep on building and expanding it. It doesn't have to be self-employed business. Some people like to be salespeople. Some people like to be real estate agents. Some people like to do like a lot of different things that require them to work a job where they punch in, punch out, whatever, right? Or they get paid salary, whatever, Everybody is different, but figure out what works for you, because you really want to figure that out so you can set yourself in and build some solid foundations from now, so that your future self can be thanking you for making the right decisions right now, right? Yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe. That's what the algorithm wants to see, to keep on showing you more content like this. I post pretty much almost every day or every other day. Pretty much whenever it's not crazy busy at work or crazy busy week for me, I'm gonna be posting, right? If you don't see me posting in like 2-3 days, means shit's crazy busy. But today I had to find the time to take out to make this video, because it was something that really is close to my heart and passionate, and something I'm really passionate about, and something that I wish someone had told me when I was younger, when I was growing up, right? So yeah, you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you want to see next. That's it. Peace out.